Once upon a time, there lived a young, newly-wedded man named Louis. But little did Louis know that over the course of the next few years, his will to live, his drive for survival, would be greatly tested. Shortly after marrying his beloved Lucy, Louis was sent off to fight in war. Louis, while away at war, was captured by enemy soldiers. The U.S. considered him missing in action for over a year. Louis's father would reassure Lucy every day that Louis was stubborn and strong-willed, that he was still out there somewhere. It was a number of countless days into the war. Louis was the navigator on a B-17. He and the rest of his crew were on a mission flying over Germany when shot down by the enemy. The plane was on fire. The engine was on fire. He furiously collected his parachute while the plane fell, the velocity accelerating. He jumped instinctively. His parachute caught on the plane, jerking him vigorously. The plane gaining velocity faster and faster each and every passing second. He didn't have time to think how to survive. He just reacted. He pulled his sweaty palms up and grasped his fingers around the parachute line. He pulled himself up the falling plane, still falling, faster and faster. The parachute was caught on the inflamed engine. He grabbed and tangled it off the plane and detached in a fury. Down, down like a wind whirl, Louis went spinning to the ground. Everything went silent, black, dark, but only for a split second. He was awoken by warfare, an enemy soldier standing above him. Louis felt numb and passed out and re-woke in the hospital. The putrefied smell of infection lingered through the corridors. The screams of horror echoed out the halls. Louis tuned them out. The agony of his back pain thumped, repetitively, piercing like a stab from a knife. He lay for days, maybe weeks, lost in the misery of a stuck soul. The sun arose. It was early in the morning. The enemy soldiers marched in their formal attire, picking out the weak, suffering from their cots. The soldier asked the man lying next to Louis, whom was covered in infection wounds, if he could walk. The man replied no. The soldier, without hesitation, shot the wounded man. The soldier next arrived to Louis's cot. He knew he had to stand to survive. Stitched from stomach to back, Louis stood, as if he were as strong as an ox. For that he learned from his neighbor that weak will die, and the strong-willed will get a chance to live on. Louis, along with the other survivors, marched on, shackled with sheer cloths on the back. They marched on into the pit of the well's belly. There Louis was, all alone, the world against him, in a concentration camp. He was a prisoner, no contact with the outside world. They packed the prisoners into rooms, like sardines in a can, except with concrete walls. The prisoners were fed stale bread and raw potatoes. Louis saw that people that ate the potatoes died off quickly. He now knew to stay away from any vegetation from these soils. He survived by drinking from his own bodily fluids and the small rations of stale bread that were given. He would walk the fence line to stay strong, to keep his muscles strong, so he would not weaken. Although Louis never pushed himself too much, he knew to conserve what energy he had. He watched many people come and pass on over the course of the next year. Louis stayed strong-willed. He knew he would survive this hell. It was a chilly day, colder than most. The prisoners that remained were gathered and sent on a quest, a march. At nighttime, while on their blinded journey, 3 guys would share a thinly tattered blanket. Never in a million years did Louis think that he would ever be so thankful to have another man's warmth. The wind hissed at night. You could feel it slap you in the face and chap your skin, while you lay helpless, captured in the wilderness of no man's land. One morning, after many days had passed, the sunlight hit Louis's eyelids, and he arose again in this frozen nightmare. Only this morning was different than the rest. Today they marched to home soil.